Hello BSB, my name is Jason Castellani and I am the CEO of Castellani Media, which owns a collection of blogs primarily focused on travel, backpacking, adventure, and tips for couples traveling. The company first began in 2009 when Aracely, my wife now, and I set off on our first long-term backpacking journey. We decided to blog about our trip, take thousands of photos, and adventure videos. That blog's success, known as twobackpackers.com, has led to my decision to continue blogging about travel. Aracely and I have been married for 1 year now, and we got engaged while backpacking in the middle of nowhere, literally in northern Chile. We decided in 2009 to backpack around the world for a year because backpacking, or that style of travel, backpacking, is budget travel. There wasn't a way for us to travel around the world on staying at luxury hotels, flying from place to place. It just wasn't financially feasible. So that's probably the number one reason why we chose that style of travel. Spending every waking hour together is definitely a test for any relationship, and it proved for us that we could be happily married, hence why I proposed on that trip. Budget style travel will test your spirit and your tolerance a lot. This is something that new couples should definitely think about before heading out on a long trip together. If you're going out and you're not really sure of your relationship strength, I'd advise first figure that out before you go on any long-term trips. Our most adventurous trip together was in March of 2010 when we took up the challenge of hiking and camping for 9 days in Patagonia. The trek is known as Torres del Paine Full Circuit in southern Chile. It's not for the casual hiker. We were exhausted at times, but with good weather, determination, and the fact that we worked together, we were able to do it. And I'm not going to lie, there were some very, very difficult times, but we made it, and we ended up getting married, so I guess it wasn't so bad. Budget backpacking, it doesn't yield many sexy places, or at least they don't seem sexy when you're there. This stems from the fact that you're not wearing sexy clothes. You probably didn't pack any. You've got a backpack and you're very limited. A pair of jeans is all we have as far as nice clothes. You don't feel extremely clean most of the time. You've worked your butt off usually to get to that location, wherever that is. So even if that's a beautiful island that looks like a postcard, you're not feeling sexy. And most likely, depending on the situation, you're not going to have sex there. You may be staying in a tent, you may be filthy from the entire day. That happened to us numerous times. So for us, the sexiest place, or where we feel most sexy, is back at home in New York City, where we spent 4 years living. When we go back to New York City, we're able to dress up. We're clean. We go out and we walk the busy streets. We go to a romantic lounge to have cocktail drinks. We have a nice restaurant that we go to for dinner. All that makes us feel happy because we're in a place where we're very comfortable, but also sexy. So a little different than you might have thought. What's our best tip for couple getaways? The best tip is to discuss with your partner. What are your travel preferences? What type of food does each of you like? What type of places do you expect to see? Mostly for us, what type of activities do you like doing? If one person is a vegetarian and the other person is a meat eater, and you're going to a location that doesn't really have a lot of vegetarian options, it's going to cause conflict. It's going to cause struggles with that one person who's a vegetarian, and it's going to end up causing conflict within the relationship. Also, is one person an avid outdoorsman? Do they like trekking? The other person likes sitting on the beach, sipping cocktails with an umbrella in it. These are very important things that will impact that trip and your relationship. So discuss them ahead of time. And if you don't completely agree, just make sure that there's compromise. You don't want to have to figure out that compromise when you're out on your trip already. On the topic of saving money, we all want to save money, right? My advice is to do research. There's lots of tools on the internet today to try to get the best deals, whether that's for flights, hotels, specials. One of my favorite sites I use is airfarewatchdog.com. I put in my destination that I want to go, and I just wait for the best flights, and then I book them. That's one of my favorite tools. My other advice for you is if you're a photographer, a writer, a blogger, contact that the tourism board of that city or the restaurant or the organization that owns the destination that you're going to go see or the resort. Let them know about your skills, and you plan on sharing, their location with your readers, your viewers, and you might be able to get some free accommodation out of that. And then in turn, you're going to need to write about that or share photos online with your portfolio. That's another idea for saving money. Between the couples, I suggest sharing meals. Some people have difficulties doing this. If you're in a nice restaurant, it feels a little awkward to ask, to share one meal. You can ask for the meal to be put on separate places, but believe me, in the United States, the servings are extremely large compared to other countries. And after seeing other countries, I don't feel rude at all asking to do that. And I don't know if it's a trend in the United States where foreigners are more willing to ask to share meals, but it's something that you should not feel afraid to do, and it's a great way to save money. Romance and adventure are a difficult pair and not for everyone. Typically, when you're on an adventure, you're working hard, you're sweating, you're also struggling. It's a challenge. You have a short temper, possibly with your couple. So to find a place that's adventurous and romantic is difficult, but it does exist. For Aracely and I, our recommendation is the Grand Canyon, which was one of our favorite places we ever visited back in 2006. This was our first adventure trip together. We had only been together a few months at this point, and we were going to be camping with each other, going down the Grand Canyon and hiking back up. So it was a challenge, but it worked out. The reason I suggest it as an adventure and romantic place is because when you're done that tremendous challenge, there's incredible lodges at the Grand Canyon that have views of the canyon that you can stay in, beautiful restaurants. So I would say you're going to get both adventure. There you have rafting, you have hiking, and what else do you have? Rafting, hiking, and camping. So you have a lot of different choices for you. But again, what you're going to see at the Grand Canyon is absolutely inspiring. It'll be a memory, and a memory that you'll want to share with your partner. So that's it, and I want to thank BSB for inviting me to share my couple's travel tips. Thank you.